Ascending weight set scheme explained. So ascending set schemes pretty simple. So basically you want to start at a lighter weight and just build your way up to a maximal weight. All right. Let's say this is what a program looks for the day. Barbell bench press. Week 1, we've got 2 sets of 8, 2 sets of 6. Week 2, 3 of 8, 2 of 6, and so on and so forth. I want to give you an ideal month of training, what this should look like. All right. Let's say week 1, we start off at 185 for 8 and hit 195 for 8. Let's say both of those are around a 7, 8 out of 10 RPE. We go up in weight. We go 215 for 6 and then 225 for 6. Let's say that 215 was about an 8 out of 10 RPE and that 225 was about a 9 out of 10. So we're approaching a maximal weight for 6 repetitions there. All right. Next week, we want to go up a little bit, either in the total weight that we use for a final set or a little bit in terms of the weight that we use in prior sets. Okay. Let's say we do 185, 190, and 195 for 8. Okay, again, feeling pretty good. Let's say that's 8 out of 10. We go 215 for 6, and we want to best that 225 from last week, so we go 230 for 6. All right. Third week, same thing. We just want to get some more weight moving. We have 6 total sets this time, so we have to keep in mind fatigue is going to be more of a player. We do 180, 190, and then 200 for 8. Okay, great. Feeling great. Want to go a little heavier in weight. We hit 215 for 6, 225 for 6, and still feeling pretty good. Let's go 235 for 6 repetitions. And ideally, we want to try to get more and more weight every single week, and so far, so good. Week 4, this should be our heaviest week of all time. We start off with a 195 and a 205 for 8. Let's say those are about 8 out of 10 RPE. Great. Things are looking perfect. Then we hit 225 for 6, feeling really strong. Then 240 for 6. So we're getting an all-time best there for 6 repetitions. And this month has really gone well. So let's take some notes on this. When we do ascending weight schemes, we're looking to have most sets between a 7 and a 9 out of 10 RPE. If every single set you do is a 9 out of 10, you're working too hard, especially during high volume days, because you're mixing high volume with high intensity, and that can lead to some injury over the course of time. If you find yourself having to drop weight, you're also taking too big a jump, so take smaller jumps. Lastly, if all of your sets are 7 to 8 out of 10, so they're not that challenging, we're not hitting that 8 to 9 out of 10 RPE, take larger jumps between weights, or just start your first set a little bit heavier, okay? Now, in terms of your goals based on the week 1 is meant to be your easiest week. And again, this is going to be a little bit of an experimental week. We're figuring out the weights that we're going to be using for the rest of the month. So if you mess up a little bit this first week, no problem. Just err on the side of a little bit less because it's supposed to be an easy week. Week 2, we're ramping up a little bit. Week 3 is your highest volume week, so just keep that in mind. You might have a little more accumulated fatigue across those sets and have to start a little bit lighter on that week. And lastly, week 4 is going to be a lower volume week, but it's going to be your heaviest week. So we're looking to get a new PR this week if possible. All right? Now, I want to show you a mess up because this happens all the time. Let's say our first week goes pretty well. We hit the 185, 195 for 8, then 215, 225 for 6. Great. All of our sets were ascending. Week 2, all right, I felt great week 1. I want to try to really bump things up. Let's say I get 190, 200, and then 210 for 8. I'm like, oh crap, that 210 was very, very heavy. All right, well, I want to try for 230. Let's see how it goes. You go 230, you can't get your 6 repetitions, right? It was just too much, and you also had too much fatigue from that set of 210. So now you got to drop down. You're doing 200 pounds for 6 repetitions. Whoops. Okay. How do we rectify this? So let's say on the third week, we got to back off a little bit because things didn't go so hot on week 2. We go 180, 190, and 200 for 8 repetitions. And when you do 200 for 8 repetitions, you don't feel like you're shot. You actually feel pretty fresh. Like, okay, good, I'm doing well. So then we hit 215 for 6, we hit 225 for 6, still feeling fresh, and we hit 235 for 6 repetitions. And now we're hitting 5 pounds more than we missed last week for 6, and we're getting it for 6 repetitions, okay? And on week 4, we're just trying to advance like I showed you in prior sets. So there it is, ascending weight and set scheme. Give it a shot.